Hello everyone, welcome back to Naomi's Bookshelf. Today we're going to do the last Agatha Christie wrap-up or review for the year. So for the Christie's Missing Readathon, I actually read 2 Agatha Christie's and I watched The Mousetrap. So I have here 2 of them and my one that I read in November, plus I will be reviewing The Mousetrap as a play. So let's get into my thoughts. I'm going to go spoiler-free first and then into spoilers. So the first one I'm going to talk about is The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. I read this one with my book club in real life, and it was funny because a lot of people in the book club had not read this one before. Actually, I think I was the only one who had reread it. So it was fun for me to know the secret when I was reading it, and actually one person in the book club actually guessed who it was in the reading of the experience. So it was fun for me to know in advance and for several people to be completely blindsided. So this one follows a man named Roger Ackroyd as he is friendly with lots of his neighbors. However, he is discovering some underhanded events going on. And as he's receiving some last piece of evidence, he dies. Now, during this time of his death, he actually has the doctor who's writing this entire book over at his house. And then the doctor whose next door neighbor happens to be a man mysteriously named Hercule Poirot is in town. And the doctor ends up going over to his house. I can't remember the doctor's name, but the doctor and Hercule Poirot end up working together along with the local police to try and solve the mystery of what happened to Roger Ackroyd. How did he die? And it's all very fascinating. I really enjoyed how this mystery was solved, and on the reread, I really enjoyed spotting the clues. The next thing I'll talk about is The Mousetrap. So I read or watched this play, I'll say, for the Christie's Missing Readathon, which is going on as we are speaking, as I'm speaking, and as you are watching this, if you're watching it as I have let this come out. So this one is about a hotel or a recently started inn, and several guests come to, obviously spend the night when it's a very bad snowstorm. So during this time, they are very curious about what's going on. And I believe this play was based off of Three Blind Mice, which is another Christie story. And it is a very fun play. And I love how it is a very fascinating play because it ran for so many years, as many people were told, come watch the play, but don't tell anyone who done it. Now, I will say for this one, it was very fun and very engaging. I really enjoyed how it twisted and turned, and I loved how it was very, very fast paced. It was really engaging in that regard, and I did catch on to the certain twists as it was happening, certain regards. So I didn't follow through all the way, but I did like how it was going along, and I gave it 4 stars. I should say that The Murder of Roger Ackroyd got 5 stars on the reread and as the first time I was reading it. The Sittaford mystery was my first time reading this one, and this is also a cold book. I've been reading a lot of cold books this month. Oh well. This one follows a group of people as they are kind of bored one evening trying to figure out what to do. They don't want to play bridge. They don't want to play other games. So they decide to do a seance. And during the seance, it spells out that someone is being murdered, and they figure out that's one of their friends who lives in a house about pretty far away if they're walking. It's about a 2-hour walk, and it is a massive snowstorm outside. So one of the friends decides to go and try and figure out if their friend is okay and if he needs any help. So 2 hours later, he manages to come up to the house, and he finds the friend dead. This is where that story takes off. And I really enjoyed how this book follows detectives who are like the police, but it also follows a woman named Emily as she's trying to figure out what is going on with a reporter as they are trying to investigate to solve the clues, but also trying to clear Emily's fiance's name. I really found this one fascinating. I love the dual perspective of seeing detectives' information and private investigators' information, also amateur investigators' information. Really fun and really, I liked seeing all those sides of information coming out, but I also thought it was really interesting how you got to see all of the different timelines kind of come together, and really interesting cast of characters. So 5 stars for me. This was a really amazing Christie to read. My last Christie that I read was Hercule Poirot's Christmas, and this one is about a family during Christmas time, the Lee family, where Simon Lee has treated his family very poorly. He has 3 4 sons, and they all are very unhappy with him, essentially. His oldest son, Alfred, lives with him and Alfred's wife, and then he has invited back David and Simon and Harry, and then he also has a granddaughter coming, as his daughter Jennifer died and she was married to someone from Spain. So her daughter is also coming, and it is just a very interesting family affair. They are all very hateful towards Simon Lee, but also it is a very toxic environment, should say the least. During this time, they are all very hateful towards each other in some regards. Harry basically abandoned the family, and they all are very mad about the fact that Simon is basically re-inheriting him. There's no qualms about that from Simon's perspective, but everyone is very unhappy. Then you also have the fact that he has many diamonds and he likes to show them off and play with them. He's a very selfish and awful man to be around. This really comes to a head when suddenly one night, I think it's Christmas Eve, if I remember correctly. Nope, the 23rd. Suddenly he is killed. And it is quite a gruesome scene when they discover his body shortly after they hear a blood-curdling scream throughout the house. And it is a very interesting scene to discover. Hercule Poirot is here. Obviously, it's Hercule Poirot's Christmas. He's helping the detective and the police, superintendent, I believe, following the case, trying to solve all the clues. And it's really interesting. I had been rereading this, so I knew some of the clues, some of the things, but I can't remember who done it. So it was nice to be surprised again. And I really enjoyed my time rereading this. For spoilers, I want to go into a few things. Not too many. I don't think I have too many spoilers to talk about this time around, but that's okay. I always say that and I end up having more. So for the murder of Roger Ackroyd, I was really paying close attention to all of the key details that I knew. So a lot of the things where little statements that you thought weren't important, but actually were very reflective of the fact that the doctor was in fact the murderer. I noticed on this time around where he said, I'm not going to tell the whole truth because I don't want to offend her. It's like, actually, it's because he doesn't want to say that he did the murder himself. Also, the fact that the window was the only way in or out of that room, and he was the one who shut the window, found very interesting. And I really enjoyed the fact that it was very, very secretive and very ambiguous wording at times. And I noticed that definitely the second time around reading this. So I definitely think that Agatha Christie gets better on rereads. Every single time I've read a book and reread it, I definitely notice more and more every time around. The next book, I should say, let's go in order that I talked with them. How about that? The Mousetrap. So when they were talking about, you don't know anything about these guests who are staying at your house or in your inn, I was like, that's true, she doesn't. And then the policeman, quote unquote policeman, came to the window and I was like, they don't actually know he's a policeman. There's no ID being shown. There's no evidence that he's actually the policeman. And then sure enough, he was never a policeman, but I kind of got thrown off of that track. So I was on the right trail at the beginning, but I never actually followed through with my gut, never continued believing that. So I was right at the beginning and then I was thrown off my track. So if I had stuck with that thought, I would have been okay, but I was watching a play and I was more enjoying the play watching experience. I also thought that the woman who owned the inn, I can't remember her name, but I knew that she had something to do with the 3 blind mice and that she was one of the potential victims. And I didn't know exactly how. I thought she might be the sister, even though she wasn't that sister. The sister was another character, but I did figure that she was someone involved and that she was going to be the next woman on the hit list. So I liked that I was still surprised, but I did catch that they should have had some ID from that police officer before just believing everything he said. So I enjoyed this one though. The next one was a Sittaford mystery, and I definitely caught on to the fact that Captain Burnaby, his friend, was not everything he said. So I thought, why aren't they suspecting the person who's finding him? And I never realized that the time lapse would have been actually the problem. So when they finally found the boots and they realized they were ski boots because he had skied down, I never realized that that was actually the big problem. So I was like so suspicious of him from the beginning, but never clicked into why I should have been suspicious or what was the problem. I did really love how they all worked together as a team and how they shared evidence and clues and information, and how she found information that the police detective couldn't find. But mostly I also loved how the police detective was like, we're not sharing information with her. And she's like, oh, but I found this out, by the way. And they're like, how did you know? Really liked that. It was really fun to see that. And I also really loved how I caught on to the fact that the other nephew was in England long before. I was like, he's totally like engaged or married to the girl who's like renting Sittaford Manor or whatever. He's totally with her and like they're engaged. That's totally a thing long before that was revealed. So I really loved that. I caught that first and I thought it was a really great reveal, and I was like, I'm glad I caught something, even if I didn't catch the thing. But yes, great thing, and I really enjoyed reading this. This was such a great one, and I'm so glad I finally found this one. Not that I've been longing for a great Christie, because I loved the Christies this year, but this was a really great one to end the year on, as a brand new one at least. The last one was Hercule Poirot's Christmas. Now, when I picked this one up again, this one's for my Facebook book club, and we did a vote and everyone chose to read this one, which was great. I knew that Pilar, one, was not Simon Lee's granddaughter. I knew that she had stolen his granddaughter's identity. And two, I knew that she was going to end up with Stephen. So I knew that she, one, was not related. And two, I remember that Stephen, I'm gonna put these down, was his son. So I knew that those two things were important. So I knew that Stephen didn't do it, and I knew that she was not related. So I at least took people off of my suspect list from the beginning. So I was very interested in how that would play out. And I remembered that it was a son. I remembered it was a son and not a daughter. So the whole time they're like, it was a woman, it was a woman. I was like, it's not a woman. I know that much. Am I mistakenly remembering another book? And then the whole time I was like, it's gotta be Alfred, because I'm thinking it's a son. I know it's a son, and I don't think it's David, I don't think it's Simon, but it's gotta be a son. And of course it was a son, but it was the police officer. So I was so fooled, but I was right. It was a son. I remembered that it was a son. It was just not the legitimate son. It was another illegitimate son, even though there were two illegitimate sons in the book. So she got me, even though I remembered a good amount of information. So of course she got me every time. But I'm excited to reread this probably next year, and now I will be able to have more information going into it. I'll look up spoilers though next time if I forget, so at least I can look for all the clues. However, it was really fun to walk in knowing certain information and still being tricked. That was really fun. So yeah, I definitely was surprised by all of the clues and how Hercule Poirot solves it all. I think he just is a genius at it. I really loved how, you know, he puts everything together and then it's like, of course it's this simple. It's like, it's not that simple, but I mean, he's just that good. So I read 3 winter books this actually like in one weekend, and I am really happy with all of them. They were all really wonderful, and I'm so happy. So these books were all great. They were all 4 or 5 stars. So I would recommend all of them. Yeah, if you watched all the spoilers and you know, they're great. Also, I recommend any of these as a reread. If you've read them and you want to reread them, they are so much more revealing on the reread. I guarantee that. I can't wait to reread Sittaford Mystery. That will be so much fun to reread and see all the clues again. I can't wait to see all the clues for the first time. That'll be so exciting, especially since I was so on the right trail and I decided like I didn't see the right clues, but I was on the right trail. So that'll be exciting. So please let me know down below in the comments what you have thought of these 4 Christies, if you've read them or if you're going to read them in the future, and if you plan on rereading them, if they were favorites, or if you might have missed some clues and you would like to use your detective skills again. I'd love to chat about them down below in the comments. And if you have enjoyed this video, please like, and if you'd like to, subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye for now.